I awoke to silence so complete it felt artificial. No hum of engines, no distant wind, no familiar vibration beneath my feet. For a moment, I thought I was dead, or floating between thoughts, caught in the fragile instant before memory returns. Then I felt warmth beside me. I turned my head slowly, afraid that movement might shatter whatever fragile reality I'd woken into. Pale light spilled across a smooth, crystalline chamber. The walls curved and were like the inside of a living shell, glowing faintly with veins of soft blue luminescence. The air carried a strange scent, clean, sharp, almost metallic, yet threaded with something floral I couldn't name. And beside me lay someone who should not have existed. She was tall even lying down, her form elegant and unmistakably alien. Her skin shimmered faintly, not a color I could describe easily, somewhere between pearl and moonlight, reflecting the glow of the chamber like water under stars. Her hair flowed across the surface beneath us like liquid silver, long and weightless, drifting as though gravity itself hesitated to claim it. Her eyes were closed. She wore robes of layered fabric that seemed grown rather than woven, etched with faint symbols that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. A circlet of crystal rested upon her brow, its center gem glowing with the same rhythm as the walls. An alien princess. The word struck me with absurd clarity, as if my mind had no trouble accepting the impossible. Before I could speak, before I could even fully inhale, her eyes opened. They were not human eyes, large, luminous, and filled with depth that made me feel as though I was staring into an ancient sky. They focused on me instantly, sharp, aware, and unsettlingly calm. "You are awake," she said. Her voice did not reach my ears so much as my thoughts. It was melodic, layered, carrying emotion beneath meaning. I felt it resonate through my chest, my spine, my very pulse. "Where am I?" I asked, my throat dry. She did not answer immediately. Instead, she studied me with an intensity that made me acutely aware of my own fragility. I was wearing the same clothes I'd had on before the crash, before the blinding light, before everything had gone wrong. "You are safe," she said at last. "For now." She shifted slightly, propping herself on one elbow. Even the movement was graceful, as if she were part of the chamber itself. As she leaned closer, I noticed faint markings along her neck and collarbone, lines of light that moved slowly beneath her skin, responding to her breath. "I am Princess Elara of the 13th constellation," she said, "and you, human, should not be here." That was when memory came rushing back. The mission, the experimental jump drive, the coordinates that hadn't matched any known star map, the sudden surge of energy, alarm screaming, light swallowing everything. "I was on a ship," I said, "a research vessel." "Yes," Elara replied. "Fragments of it remain in orbit. You alone survived the translation." Translation? Between realities. I sat up too quickly, dizziness washing over me. The chamber responded, its glow brightening as if sensing distress. Elara placed a hand on my arm. The moment her skin touched mine, something changed. It wasn't pain. It wasn't fear. It was recognition, a sensation like a door opening inside me, releasing warmth and gravity all at once. Images flickered at the edges of my vision. Stars, symbols, vast structures floating between suns. I gasped. Her hand tightened instinctively, eyes widening. "It has begun," she whispered. "What has?" I demanded. She did not answer. Instead, she leaned closer, her face mere inches from mine. The air between us vibrated faintly, and I felt a pressure in my mind, as if invisible threads were being drawn outward from my thoughts. Her lips moved, and this time her voice was barely more than a breath. "You are bound, Min, now. Human." The binding. I recoiled, heart racing. "Bound? What do you mean bound?" Elara withdrew her hand slowly, her expression unreadable. "I did not intend for it to happen so soon," she said, "or at all, if truth be told." She rose to her feet, her height more apparent now. The chamber seemed to respond to her presence, its glow intensifying as she paced slowly, hands clasped behind her back. "You were exposed to the veil," she continued, "the boundary between realities. Most beings dissolve when they cross it unprepared. You did not." "I survived," I said. "That's a good thing, right?" "In most cases, yes." She paused, then turned to face me fully. "But survival is not the same as immunity." She gestured toward me, and a thin projection of light unfolded between us. It showed a faint outline of my body, threaded with lines of energy, some human, some not. "The veil mocked you," she said softly, "and when you awoke beside me, the resonance completed itself." "Resonance?" "Our species," she explained, "exists partially within the veil at all times. Our royal line more so than most. When you touched me, your altered essence synchronized with mine." I swallowed. "Synchronized how?" Her gaze softened, just slightly, in ways that cannot be undone. "A world between stars. In the days that followed, though time behaved strangely here, I learned where I truly was. The realm was called Alindra, a vast interstellar dominion existing partially outside conventional space. Cities floated like jewel constellations between stars, connected by streams of luminous energy. Structures grew organically, shaped by thought and tradition rather than steel and concrete. Elira was its heir. She showed me the city from a high terrace, where platforms of crystal extended into open void, protected by invisible fields. Ships unlike anything I'd seen moved silently between levels, their forms shifting as they traveled. "You are the first human to set foot here," she said. "That doesn't make me feel better," I replied. A faint smile touched her lips. "It should. It means history has already changed." But not everyone shared her calm. The Council of Constellations convened within days of my awakening. Beings of countless forms gathered, some radiant, some shadowed, some so abstract they barely registered as physical entities. I stood beside Elira, painfully aware of my insignificance. "He is an anomaly," one voice echoed. "A contamination." "He is bound to the princess," another countered. "To destroy him would risk her." That word again. Bound. Elira stood tall, her presence commanding silence. "The binding was not deliberate," she said, "but it is complete. His life force is now interwoven with mine." A ripple of alarm passed through the chamber. "This cannot be allowed," a being of shifting light hissed. "The prophecy is not law," Elira interrupted. I looked at her sharply. "Prophecy." She did not meet my gaze. The council ruled that I would remain under her protection, confined to the inner city until my nature could be fully understood. It was not freedom, but it was life, and life, I was beginning to realize, was changing me. The change. I could feel it when Elira was near, a subtle pull, like gravity bending just slightly in her direction. My thoughts grew sharper. My dreams became vivid, filled with stars and unfamiliar memories that felt ancient and intimate. One night, if night was the right word, I found her standing alone in a garden of floating light flowers. They drifted lazily around her, responding to her emotions. "You didn't tell me everything," I said. She did not turn. "No." "The binding," I continued. "The council's fear. The prophecy." She sighed, a sound heavy with centuries of expectation. "The prophecy speaks of convergence," she said, "a union between realms that were never meant to touch. It foretells the end of Alindra as we know it, or its rebirth. And I'm the trigger." "You are the catalyst," she said softly. I stepped closer. "Did you know this could happen?" "Yes," she admitted. but I did not believe it would be you. She finally faced me then, her eyes luminous with something dangerously close to vulnerability. I have been raised to sacrifice everything for my people, she said. Even myself, especially myself. The words settled between us, heavy and unspoken. And now? I asked. Her gaze held mine. Now I must choose whether to defy destiny or embrace it. The fracture. The attack came without warning. Rifts tore open across the city, spilling entities of raw void, creatures born of collapsed realities. The veil shuddered, its balance failing. They are drawn to you, Elira said as alarms echoed through the skies. To us. We fled through corridors of light as the city trembled. I felt power surging through me, responding to danger instinctively. What's happening to me? I shouted. You are awakening, she replied. The binding is unlocking your potential. At the city's heart, we reached the core, a massive crystalline structure anchoring Alindra to existence itself. It pulsed erratically, cracks of darkness spreading across its surface. It's failing, I said. Elira placed her hands against it, energy flaring around her. It needs balance. Two forces, aligned. She turned to me. I cannot do this alone. I understood then what she was asking. What happens if I try? I asked. You may cease to be human, she said honestly, or you may cease to be at all. I thought of Earth, of the life I'd lost, of the impossible world that had become my reality. I stepped forward. Then let's finish what the universe started. Bound forever. When I touched the core, the world dissolved into light. I felt Elira's presence merge with mine, not as domination, but as harmony. Memories flowed between us. Pain, hope, duty, love for a people she had never been allowed to choose over. The veil stabilized, drawn into balance by our union. The void creatures dissolved, their purpose unmade. And when it was over, we stood together at the heart of Alindra, changed. The council bowed. The prophecy is fulfilled, they said, not in destruction, but transformation. I was no longer entirely human, and Elira was no longer alone. A new dawn. Alindra did not fall. It evolved. A bridge between realms now existed, anchored by two beings bound not by force, but by choice. I became an ambassador between worlds, my existence proof that the universe was larger and kinder than anyone had believed. Sometimes I still wait beside her in chambers filled with gentle light, and every time she leans close and whispers, not a claim, but a promise. We face eternity together. And this time, I whisper back, I know